Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Beth Marancini, and I am the Madam Chair of this initiative and Entre Amigas. I am truly honored to be your moderator today, and for this special occasion in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. This month gave us a meaningful opportunity to shine a light on the Caribbean culture, histories, and contribution of Hispanics and Latino communities. But beyond celebration, it is time to reflect on our journey, the achievements and representation in all spaces, especially in higher education and leadership. Today, we're joined by incredible panelists whose path through education and career have been shaped by their heritage, values, and ambition. They bring powerful perspective on navigating their professional path while staying true to their culture and identity, which is so important. Before we get started, I'd like to give a heartfelt thank you to Goya for sponsoring today's section. Your ongoing support makes these conversations possible, conversations that help elevate underrepresented voices, deepen awareness, and inspire lasting impact. Hispanic Heritage Month is not just about honoring the past, it's about investing in the future. And today's webinar is a true example of how Prospanica is investing in your future. Through today's discussion, we'll explore what it means to lead with culture and to use education as a tool for empowerment, impact, and most importantly, generational change. Without further ado, let's dive into this important dialogue and celebrate the strength, resilience, and brilliance of our community together. And now, it is truly an honor to introduce our incredible panelists, some of which, like Ileana, I known for a long time as president of one of the chapters. So I'd like to introduce you to Leti Torres Corral, who is the Senior Manager of Belonging and Engagement. Ileana Ruiz, who I just spoke, she's a sister in our Familia Prospanica and a marketing strategist. You're just going to love these ladies. And Carlet Medina, which she is a senior manager at a tech nonprofit. With that, I would like for these ladies to take the opportunity to introduce themselves so you get to know them before we start the conversation. So I am going to start with Leti. Leti, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, happy to do so, and thank you so much. Really, an honor to be on this call with each and every one of you. I am Leti Corral, born and raised in Chicago, Little Village. I am a first-generation eldest daughter to immigrant parents from Guadalajara, Michoacan, who I am very proud to say are now U.S. citizens. And I owe them all of their sacrifices to where I am today. I have spent my career championing workplaces where people feel seen, valued, and empowered. My career spans over 12 years of experience in HR, specializing in belonging and employee engagement, leading initiatives that not only attract diverse talent, but also foster cultures of true inclusion. As a proud Latina, my work is deeply tied to my roots and my own lived experience, blending my bilingual skills, cultural pride, and passion for equity into every project that I lead. Beyond my professional role, I find joy in being a tia to 4 nieces and nephews, baby Louis, Bella, Sophia, and Julian. And I also love to travel and explore new places with my husband, Freddie, and our 2 fur babies, Bruce Lee and Bernie Wolverine, who are directly right below me. But with that, I'll pass it over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And yes, I am a proud mom also of a fairy baby here. With that, I am going to next introduce Ileana. Ileana, give us a little bit of, facts about you. Let's get to know you.
Well, primero que todo, feliz mes de la Hispanidad. So let's everybody celebrate our Hispanic heritage, especially so my name is Ileana Ruiz. I'm in the Washington D.C. area, and I'm in the bubble of the nation capital. So it's very important that we are like el arroz blanco. We're Latinos and Hispanic are everywhere. So it's important to celebrate ourselves. I've been a Prospanica member since 2016 and a lifetime member since 2021, and also chapter of the year 2021. So I've been with Prospanica for a while. So born and raised in Puerto Rico, bachelor degree, master degree in Puerto Rico, coming to DC to look for a new opportunity. And it was through empowerment program called Mujeres de Hace that was recruited to Prospanica. And I realized that I am more a person to be connected to the community, to be a loner. I cannot be alone. I need to be connecting with new people, with like I can talk all the time. I can make a conversation with anybody, any introvert person. If you want to be adopted by me, I'm more than happy to. Um, I only have also a 40 baby. This is my first year to be a pet mom. And I have her downstairs because she loves to talk too. And I don't want to interrupt this conversation. Otherwise, marketing strategies in career transition, but always and open to collaborate with anybody. And if you have any question about marketing, communication, and public relations, I'm here to help you. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for opening up to others to reach out to you. I know you're a great mentor, Ileana, and welcome to the mothers of fairy babies as well. Carletti, can you please introduce yourself and let us know, some facts about you?
Sure. Well, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Carletti Medina. I am a Dominican American. I was born in the Dominican Republic, but raised north of Boston. And I currently live in Miami because I had to come down to something as close to the Dominican Republic as possible. So I have over 16 years in higher ed. The reason I am in front of you is because I had wonderful people that invested in their community and supporting first generation immigrants such as myself to really understand the American dream and what this journey of education is. So as a result, my passion and my work for the past 16 years plus has really been supporting underrepresented students, particularly Latinos, to help them navigate American higher education system. I truly do believe that is our opportunity door opener for many of the things. So I currently work in a tech nonprofit supporting our students to step forward in their tech career and get a jump start into what the industries are looking for, and really supporting the community to help them achieve their career and technical goals. I am constantly championing my mom. I'm a product of a single mother with 3 kids who navigated all this without understanding the language and the process. So I'm just really humbled and proud to be standing here and supporting others to do the same. So again, thank you for having me tonight.
Wow, wow, wow. Three amazing individuals. And it's funny, each one of you spoke about aspects of your life that I relate to, whether it is, Caleri, being Dominican, but also being a part of a single mom. Ileana, I know that you're welcome to mentor, to teach, and you're like, it's reality. That's who you are. You're approachable. And then Letty, talking about all the things that you discuss, and I know you are part of belonging and engagement, and I'd like to know a little bit more about that as well. So yes, we belong, all of us, and that's what makes us unique, guys. We are a community that can relate to each other even though we come from different countries. There's something that brings us together, and that is our culture, right? With that, I am going to move us forward with some questions here, and that hopefully will provide some insight as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. So thank you for being here, helping us create a more inclusive and equitable future for the next generation. So my first question is, can you share a defining moment or experience from your personal or professional journey that continues to inspire and motivate you today, especially as a Latina? So I am going to start. Let's see. Letty, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, you're serious? You're starting with me. Okay, perfect. Well, yes, I am happy to share. So I'm the oldest of four, and I have shared this particular story in the past with a few folks that I know, and it always brings tears to my eyes, but from a very good perspective. So I was about 7, 8 years old. I think I was like in second grade or so, and I attended a dual language school, so a bilingual school. And as the oldest of four, it was very instilled in me, like, tienes que hacer toda tu tarea. You need to maintain straight A's. You are an example for your siblings, right? So I needed to make sure that I was doing all of my homework. So I recall sitting at the table. My mom is making dinner. My dad is sitting across, and I just kind of start crying. And I was working on like a one pager where you are able to translate. You're supposed to be translating words from English to Spanish. And I was getting stuck. And instead of asking for help, I just started crying. And I did not want to ask for help because I knew my mom was busy. I knew my dad was busy. So my dad looked at me and he asked me, like, are you okay? ¿Estás bien? ¿Qué necesitas? ¿Por qué lloras? And I was like, well, I don't know if I can do this. And I think my dad instinctively was like, okay, I need her to calm down. So he asked me to put down the pencil, and to just take a deep breath. He cleaned my tears. He was like, do you realize that you have a gift? And I was like, no, I don't have a gift. I need to finish my homework. And he's like, no, I need you to stop worrying about the homework. You're our firstborn here in the US. What you're working on is very important because language opens up so many opportunities in this country. One day you will use your language to speak up for people that look like me and your mom, and you will be able to help little girls like you. He's like, you can cry, but once you are done, clean your tears, get that pencil, and I'm here to help you. And I think I carry that through my professional career because it's definitely helped me as an introvert, high performer, eldest daughter, and first generation Latina. Like, I am very driven. Like, I will figure things out on my own. But I think that moment taught me that I don't have to do things on my own, that it's okay to ask for help, that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to not have all of the answers. And I think for me, that has definitely kind of stayed with me in my professional life and in my professional career. And it's obviously shaped who I am. But it is the power of ensuring that I don't allow, that struggle of needing to be perfect and needing to always have the right answers to dictate my future. So I can always change that. And I can do that by being vulnerable and asking for help. And now I do see that gift that my dad was talking about is that that language, right? The language that opens up many different doors, and we're able to speak the two languages, and I'm able to interact with people and make them feel safe, make them feel seen, and make them seem valued en su idioma y en el idioma en lo que ellos se puedan entender. Soy la persona que puede ayudar. Entonces, that's one of the, I would say, life lessons that I take with me and that really sticks out to me.
Wonderful. What a beautiful, beautiful example. Love it. Yes, we can be vulnerable. Yes, everyone is born with a gift. And I know that as a mom of a young adult with autism, discovering his gift. So, yes, every one of you has a gift. You just have to identify what it is. So, thank you for sharing that. Very touching. I loved it. With that, Kaleti, can you please share an experience, whether it's professional or personal, that inspire you and pretty much, change your course?
Yeah, sure. So for me, one of the defining moments was, similar to Lippy in terms of like carrying that excellence. And it was in my first leadership role where I was like, I'm not sure I can do this. Like I went through the motion. I got the job, and then I was sitting there and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then like my mom popped into my head, like it's like pull it together, right? Like your mom made all these sacrifices to put you where you are, not for you to sit here and question yourself, right? And like, what would she say? And at the end of the day, one of the things that she told me once when I was making one of those many leaps that I made was, I trust that I've given you the values for you to make the right decisions of what's right and what's wrong and to move forward. And it's okay, like you're gonna be fine, right? So I took that as like my inner motivation of like, I got here, I got selected for this role for a reason, right? So like I just started working and realized that, wow, not only am I doing this, but I'm succeeding. Like, the results were coming in, my students were coming in, feeling supported, feeling that they had a path and excited and like looking forward to speak to me. And I was completely new to this leadership role. And what I did is I started mentoring my team and working as a unit and showing them, really rooted on my values, that, hey, we could do things together. We're not always going to get it right, but if we move forward together and learn, it's okay to make mistakes. I think that was part of my fear, that I wasn't going to do it perfect. And then I learned in this leadership, and that was the one thing that has stayed with me, is you're going to make mistakes. And what you learn from it is what matters. And the way that you respond to those mistakes that are really just learning lessons. And that is something that my mom would tell me. So I walk in that path, and I teach those that I come along with, it's okay, we're learning. And how are we going to react to the things that are going to happen? Because it's not going to always work the way we planned it, because that's just life. And let's always have a contingency plan and learning lessons. So when we do this again, we do it with the walk that we've already passed and avoiding those little roadblockers. And all of that comes from understanding that, if you do things with resilience and strength and honoring your values and what you stand for, at the end of the day, that will speak more than that little mistake or that little fumble or that perfection that I was seeking. So that is something that till this day I still do, and that I'm proud of and teach to those that I come across.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think the main lesson is also, when you stumble with something, everyone's going to do that. We're not perfect, but just what is the lesson? And if you can walk out of there with a lesson, then you should feel like, I wouldn't say proud, but like, yes, very good about yourself. The problem is, if you stumble with something and you don't walk out with a lesson, then you're going to do it again, right? So I love that. And resilience, for sure, especially us as women. So thank you for sharing that. And then last but not least, Ileana, tell me about your experience. What inspired you? And I think you touched a little bit at the beginning on it, being coming to Washington and trying to be open to others.
Yeah, definitely. I just was going to follow up with Letty and say, hey, Letty, wherever, if we see each other again in any of Prospanica conference, remind me, if you allow me to give you a hug, you deserve a hug. I'm a hugger too. So what inspire me and motivate me today and every day is that I'm a lifelonger learner too. And every day I try to challenge myself. That is my inspiration because at the end of the day, we only have ourselves. We can be vulnerable and we have to be like, if we're scared, to say, I'm scared, and you overcome that fear. And if you have fear to ask for help, just say it. I'm scared to ask for help, to overcome that fear. As today, I don't know all the answers, and I'm very grateful to meet new mentors every day, to see the life. There is something new to learn. There is a new opportunity. There is bright, and not let my mind to overcome for one small issue to make me take that power away from me. Always, I try to remind myself, nobody going to take away my power. The power is belong on me, and I have the power to be happy, to smile, to be different, and provide my authenticity as a Latina with my sabor Latino con Goya, porque si es Goya, tiene que saber bueno. As a Puerto Rican, Goya is in Puerto Rico, the factory, so I need to promote Goya too and say thank you. But definitely the stuff that, well, I will say one of my major, will say, I forgot the word, proud moments is that I'm the youngest. My sister was in the university at the same time as me. She dropped off. I graduate from university, and I motivate my sister to go and look for that bachelor degree. And that is something that we have to see even in the hardest time, to see that proud moment, to continue and inspire yourself every day.
Wonderful. Well said. Well said. Inspire others and be proud and of who you are. And yes, give a shout out to Goya. We all do. So I'm going to ask another question. So the next question is, what practical strategies, daily habits, which we Latinos like daily habits, or mindset shifts have empowered you to remain focused throughout your career or education path? So I am going to start with, let's say, Letty again. Ha!
Happy to take this one. Well, I think one of the practical strategies is, for me, is combating the stereotype that hard work is going to get you places. It was instilled in me as a young little girl that if you work hard, you're going to make it through. And I've come to realize that is not the case in corporate America. You need to advocate and you need to celebrate your wins, and you need to be able to tell the story of the impact that your work is doing at an organization, in a function, at the, in your industry. So I think for me, it's ensuring that I am advocating for myself now. Yes, believe it or not, I am an introvert. And, that is something that is a little challenging for me from time to time still, to be able to advocate and not feel like I'm bragging, right? So like doing it for me is in an authentic way, is being able to tell the story with excitement of the initiatives that I'm leading, how and why they're exciting, and then how I'm collaborating with others and my stakeholders. So I think ensuring that you're talking about your work, so that I'm talking about my work, right? To answer the question, that I'm talking about my work, that I'm talking about my wins, and then I'm talking about the collaborations that I'm building and the relationships that I'm building within the organization is very important, because it's definitely taught me that our voices matter as much as our efforts. And if you don't do it, then no one's going to do it for you. So I think definitely that mind shift of advocating for yourself is something that I really do value, and I try to do more intentionally nowadays in my work, and obviously as a senior manager of belonging and engagement.
Love, 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 love that, Pearl. And the reason why I said that is because we grow up in a culture that tells you differently. It tells you you need to be humble. Don't tell anyone what you did. Don't tell anyone this, that. And in corporate, and I love that you stress corporate, you can't do that. You literally have to tell people what you do. You actually evaluate it based on what you do. So this is no bragging. This is necessary for you to get to the next level and get seen and promoted. So loved it. So that was perfect, spot on, Leti.
Gracias.
Carletti, can you tell me anything you want to add to it, based on a practical strategy or daily habit or mindset that has...
Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure. So I think, to piggyback on Letty in terms of being able to speak of the work that you do, I think it's important that we also understand that we set ourselves goals, right? Of like, okay, I am going, because the reality is that oftentimes, particularly, in our fields, we're like, oh, I got the job. It's the dream job. Well, you're not there forever, right? Like, it's okay for you to try something. I've adopted the saying, been there, done that. I got my t-shirt, right? And then, okay, how many years am I willing to do this, right? Because in certain areas, you need to identify how long would it need you to take, and what is the trajectory that you want to take in order for you to get to the next level. And if that is that what you want, or are you collecting experiences that you can then transfer to another role? So I think goal setting is something that I do often, where I sit down and I evaluate, where do I see myself? And I know we get asked these questions in interviews. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in next? Do that exercise for yourself. Where do you see yourself, and what are the skills that you need to gain in order for you to move to that next step in the ladder, wherever that may be? Oftentimes I have students that come, they're like, well, you're always talking about, getting this role or doing that role, but I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, excellent. For you to be an entrepreneur, you still need to know who you're going to hire, and you need to know who's going to be in your team. And the best way for you to do that is to understand the role, because you don't want to make the mistake that your accountant leaves and you have no idea what to do with your books, right? Just have something very basic. The great thing is that we have certifications that you can do. You don't need to go and get a bachelor's degree in finance to do it. Just get enough knowledge so that you understand what is your next step. So goal setting is key. Start small. Give yourself a timeline. I got this role. I see who is heading the department. That is not the trajectory I want to go. That's okay. I'm going to pivot, but this pivot educationally. Educate yourself in where it is that you want to go. Set that goal, set the skill sets, and then you move on. So set your goals, give yourself a timeline, and reevaluate that and align that to your happiness. If you're waking up and going to work and you're hating every moment, that is your body telling you that you need to act. It's time for you to act and move into that action, and give yourself those action items, not just a list. A list is a wish list without actions. So start taking actions and moving towards that, so that you can be wherever you set yourself where you want to be in whatever timeline, because you do not want to make great promises to yourself. You cannot expect others to keep promises for you if you don't keep your own promises. So that would be my really long answer to your question of practical strategies.
That is absolutely amazing. And I'll say this. I admire people that have a goal as to where they want to go. I have never been one of those people. I go with opportunities open and the door opens and I just go with it, and it's gotten me really far. But I do have friends that from the beginning they're like, I want to be a vice president of this, and that's all. They don't settle and they do everything. And I have mentors who have done the same thing where, when they mentor me, they're like, okay, well, what's your goal? I'm like, so yes, I've been on both paths, and then mentors who like me started like at a very low level and then move up. So I definitely advocate for people to and support your statement that you probably need to have a goal. And by the way, in reference to the skills, the skills that you acquire at school might not be where you're going to end up. Like, I am not applying accounting or my master's in finance. I'm totally in a different, like, far removed from all that. Went through operations, going to network development, so you do have to sharpen, because you might need to transition into different roles that might not be associated with the degree that you went to school for. So I love those pearls as well. Thank you, Carletti. So, Iliana, querida, what are those daily habits or mindset shift or strategies that you have that have sort of helped you focus through your career or educational path?
Yeah. So it's so I don't know if many people do this, but at least I start my new year, my calendar year doing a vision board. And this vision board is part of the declaration, like Carletti was saying, is part of my goal settings for the years. And that is something that if I don't do a vision board, at least I list down in a paper and put it in the fridge and in la nevera. So I can see it constantly that this is my goal. Like, okay, my goal of losing weight is something that it will be relative. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I put that I was going to buy a house. And guess what? I bought it. I say I'm going to reinvest myself. Right now I'm reinvesting myself. So you have, and also our words are so powerful. Our words are declarations. So we have to be mindful of what we do and what we say, especially be careful with your mindset, because the mind is so powerful too. It can make us feel bad, but if we declare those words positive every day, you went to your mind, and you will be very powerful in all your settings and efforts for the year, your career, your professional development. I will say also that another daily habit, besides that I'm a Christian, but I'm not devoted. I try to read the Bible every day and try to, I use the app and I listen. I don't, maybe I don't have time to read, but there is a powerful message also in the Bible that it could help you to elevate your spirit, and you can have a great day. And maybe, I don't know if it's part of being Puerto Riqueña and Latina and women, but I remember I used to have, I wear this shirt every day. They say, en tiempos malos, una sonrisa. So always have a smile. You don't work so many muscles when you give a smile. And somebody else, you're brightening their day, but also it's brightening your day. So those are my mindset shift to have a daily good habit, and not letting, like I said before, not letting others take my power away from me. So that sometimes even my dog, that I'm be a new mama of a dog, she's a golden doodle, she has been doing stuff and I get like very, very angry, and I say I'm not going to let her to take my power of being a happy person. And let it go, let it pass. And that is the thing. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves certain, what is it they say, affirmation to remind that we are blessed and we have overcome so many hard times to continue to be blessed. Just bless yourself every day and
I
you will see.
I love that. I
You,
like that all of you bring different aspects to the conversation. And that's great, right? You bring the strategy, the goal setting, you bring now this spirituality, aspect to the conversation as well. And for those of you that know me, and I know some people are here listening, every morning I have a group of people that I send a daily, like the daily word, and with messages. And those are people that are close to me. I have, I don't know, over 20, 25 people that I send it, and it's important. And some of them send me a note like, oh my goodness, this was for me. And I'm like, oh, okay. Anyhow, I think that, you are comprised of, your mind, your spirit, and your physical, and those three you need to feed each. You can't be feeding your mind just studying or working and not take care of your body or not take care of your spirit. It has to be a combination, like feeding the three aspect of your life. So I love, Ileana, that you brought that soft aspect to the conversation that many of us forget, and we don't need to be religious, honestly. The vision board, a lot of people do practice the vision board. I have not done it in a long time, but I want to share that I did once or twice, and things that I put on it, it actually came through. I'm like, oh, so this worked. Like literally colors of things that I wanted to purchase or buy. So it does work. When you write things down, it works. And the mantra is something that Tony Robbins speaks to a lot, mantras. And then about not letting people take your power. If you read Let Them from Mel Robbins. She is a great book. Let Them is important. So you learn to let people be the way they are, not try to change them. So I recommend that book to anyone who is listening. Let us move to the third question. What do you find most exciting about being part of the growing wave of Hispanic Latinos professionals across industry? What is that you're like, wow, this is great. This is our time, Latinos. Let me start with Letty.
Love it. I need to be part of this group that you have because that sounds very inspiring. And it would be great to get a text from you with affirmations or words. That would be great.
Send me your phone.
I will definitely do that. But to answer your question, in regards to what do you find most exciting about being part of the growing wave of Hispanic, Latina professionals across industries? I think for me, obviously, speaking in the voice of, being a Latina, a minority in corporate America, I think what excites me the most is being able to honor where I come from while helping shape what's ahead, right? So carrying my family's sacrifices and resilience and my language with me into every space that I enter, I think is what excites me. It provides an opportunity for me to connect with other professionals across industries and allow them to feel safe, to feel valued, and to be seen, to be quite honest. Being part of the growing wave, I think means that I'm not only living out the dreams of my parents that they once held for me, but I'm also helping to create pathways so others can see themselves represented and know that it is possible, right, to achieve a certain role or to be in a certain industry, right? And I think for me, it's just very a big moment of pride to be able to bring that culture and bring my community and my lived experience into these industries where our voices haven't always been centered or heard. And it can be as simple as, being the only Latina or the only woman in a room, right, from a belonging perspective. I'll give a perfect example. And, talking about talent strategies, for example, right? and talking about how we're going to recruit somebody virtually, right? Attending a virtual conference. Well, the first thing that I usually tend to ask is, well, what are we doing to not assume that everybody has access to Wi-Fi, right? That is a privilege. That is something that a lot of people may not have. So what can we do to accommodate that? Whether it's providing maybe an opportunity for them to come into the office as opposed to doing virtually. So it's just little things like that, I think, is what excites me, for me to be able to bring that type of perspective into my work and into the spaces that I'm in. And again, just providing an opportunity to have other Latinas like myself that are coming up behind me and being able to open the door and hold the door open for them to come up, and be able to have somebody that looks like them, that speaks like them, and that went through the first generation, I wouldn't call them traumas, but the first generation kind of lived experience that they can also relate to.
That's beautiful. I want to see if we could move us forward to another question, since you were able to answer that so eloquently. I like to move us to another area that is extremely important. When you look ahead, what kind of impact or legacy do you aspire to leave that will support and uplift the future generation of Hispanic Latinos professionals and leaders? And I really want you guys to think about this. You know, education is so important, correct? So I really want you to wrap your answer and around, your career, how important education has been to promote you, to elevate you. And then, speak about a moment in your career that you felt like, a celebration of your identity, right? So tie back education, career, and how the two mesh for you to be able to celebrate who you are as a Latina. So I am going to ask Carletti, can you help me tie all that and I stress the importance of education to help you accomplish your career goals that you spoke about?
Yeah. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, I wouldn't be where I am without my education. But education opened the door for me to be in the rooms that I was in. And that door was subsequently opened because people believed that kids like me belonged in the room. So they knew, I had no other choice but to go through. Since I was in 6th grade, I was told you're going to college. I didn't understand why. I didn't understand what that was going to do. My mom has a high school diploma. She didn't make it to college. So I'm a first generation. And, I didn't know what this path that I was going through was going to do for me, but I knew it was going to open the doors. So what really impacted me and unlocked that of hey, as a Dominican American, you belong in the room, was being able to understand what does it mean to be Dominican in America, and how does that shape the rooms that I walk in, and what does that do for those that come behind me. So I was fortunate that I was able to study abroad. I studied abroad in the Dominican Republic. I really was able to do an undergrad and then come back and understand that, yeah, I come from an island. We speak differently than when I was studying in Spain, but my Spanish and the way I speak is still important and it still matters, and it is part of who I am. So what I did was able to come back to my community and educate the students and those that they were behind me to say, I can mentor you because I've been into those rooms. And it's okay if you want to be an engineer and you are Latina, that is not a career for boys, right? You may be the only Latina sitting in that room that is taking calculus 3, but guess what? You can be a tutor. And then those that are there are going to take you seriously. But more importantly, when you go out into the field as an ingeniera, they're going to take you seriously because you have no idea how many ingenieros you've gone through this path. So for me, in helping our students understand is you need to lead with authenticity, kindness, and pride of who you are. Understand that you may be the first one in the room, but make it your goal to be the first one in the room, the first one on the table, but not the last. Mentor those behind you. Go to that sixth grade little girl, little boy, and say, hey, I'm an ingeniero. I am, a businesswoman. I am whatever the X may be for you, and you can do this too. And create that culture of mentoring those, whether it is within your community, your high school, your college, whatever that may be, to understand that education for us is the key to be able to get into the room, because that is how you grow your network. And that network is important. And you create that with those that are in your classroom, those that are your neighbors. Try to make it your goal to be able to connect our community in that way. And we'll continue to open the doors for those that come behind us. But don't be afraid, as Letty said earlier, ask for help. There are organizations like Prospanica that has other professionals that they can connect you with, so that you're not alone. And then you can create that tight community to help with your education, to help those behind us. Because I think that is where the key is, that yes, we are here. We have a certain professional degree, some of us, but we can help those that are coming behind us to inspire them to continue that same route and create a tight-knit community where that is the path and that is the way. And it's not only available to others, it's just available to everyone, and we can create many connections through that channel.
I love it. I think that you hit the nail over the head with each and every one of the points that you made, in reference to education, in reference to mentoring, and, in reference to, yes, you might be the first one in the room. We've been in there. I've been in rooms where executive didn't look like me. They were, Caucasian, and I was one or two women and the only Latina. So yeah, it's okay. Hey, nothing wrong with that. But the point is that we need to mentor, we need to open the door, and we need to make sure we take the time to explain to those behind us that it's okay to be the first one, that it's okay to be different, that it's okay to be who you are and be authentic. So I love your the points that you made. Thank you so much, Galady. You've been really good tonight with your comments as well as the other panelists. So, Ileana, is there anything you want to add to that? I mean, you know, how have you been able, or what advice would you give to that next generation coming behind you in reference to, education, and how that has helped you progress in your career? How can you inspire them?
So that is a great question, because people don't underestimate the power of education. It is very important because we are in a generation right now where Latinos, not many of us have privilege. And those who has privilege, that you have to understand, they work for that privilege. And the thing is that for me, for example, I haven't been in corporate America. I come from government, nonprofit, private, agency, EPR. So having been across in those industries, also it has shown me that my authenticity is very powerful. My weirdness, my quirk are very powerful. People admire you because you are able to show up in those levels. It doesn't matter. Don't underestimate the power that you have. First of all, if you're there, it's because you are supposed to be there. And don't don't let that, ¿cómo se llama ese? El síndrome del impostor. Don't let it win too, because many of us, as like Brett say at the beginning, we're coming from a culture of colonization that say, calladita te ves más bonita, be humble. And sometimes that doesn't work well in this culture in North America. The culture here is to sell yourself, show what you're worth, and your education is a very, very powerful weapon. And you know, sometimes I like to bring a little bit spark of my Latinidad. Say, hey, I have an accent. I know I have an accent. I speak another language. And I love my Puerto Rican accent. Deal with that. And the thing is that not many people can speak another language, but we do. And we have to celebrate that. We cannot forget that we can manage more than one language with fluently, with so much powerful that, like Letty was saying, she had to translate her lessons. Me being from Puerto Rico and getting an education from Puerto Rico, where our first language is Spanish, our classes wasn't in Spanish, our books were in English. So we had to read in English, take the class in Spanish, do the assignment, and translate everything in Spanish to return the assignment in Spanish. So the power of language education go very tight on. And you know, and like Kathy was saying, don't be only the, maybe you're the first, but you're not the last. Look how many Latinos we have been trying to be the first, but not the last. Prita Moreno, for example, it being the first Pegot or Ego Latina. She carved that space for all these Latino artists. The same thing. We are as a where we are right now, we're carving the space for all this other generation, and we're representing. And yes, it's a very hard and difficult pathway, but it's not impossible. I also want to highlight in my last job, I was the first Latina to be hired in a global nonprofit, the first one, but not the last. I was able to push until we got 6 Latina in the office. And besides that, we have a Latino office in Mexico. They were not counting as a headquarter Latinos. So the the journey might be difficult and hard, but not impossible. That remind yourself, because we have a very, very powerful community. We're Hispanic. We are so brother and sister from so many countries that we look so many different, but at the same time we share so many important stories, cultures, and in education. Because don't take me wrong, maybe you're coming from another country that your education, I imagine the education in Dominican Republic was very, very hard, like the same way as is in Mexico, the same way as is in Colombia. But don't limit that. Yes, coming back here, you think your education in those countries are not worthy. They're, because you are where you have to be. You're estás conquistando tu propio camino. So it's through that education that is definitely driving you your path. And it's, yes, you might want to go to the next level of education. You want to get your master. Maybe you want to get your doctorate degree. Go for it. No, the sky is the limit. Nothing, nothing.
I love it, and I resonate and relate to what you're saying. For me, education has been my passion. I know a lot of, I also love karate and all the other stuff, but education has been my like my safety blanket. And at this age, after my kids are in college, they're older, I decided to go to law school. I just got my doctorate. I have a master's, so I just started this semester law school at Hofstra University. So, and I was a little nervous to earlier comments. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. What about if I can't? What about if I can understand? And look, it's like I was in that before my, reading and cases and I love it. I'm like, oh, I'm back in my passion. So don't limit yourself. Don't think that you cannot do it. If I am doing it at this age, I think you could do it. And you know what? Education is important, but also entrepreneurship is important. If you feel that potentially education is not your path, and that happens, okay, and you could do good without, Steve Jobs or, those folks that potentially drop out and you decide to go into the business, do it. Do it. There's no one way of doing things. The only way is believing on yourself, that, and even when you don't think you can do it, which I was like, and just give yourself a chance and start. Don't, we all scare about different things, but I think you can do it. So thank you for ladies for your comments. Thank you, ladies, for helping us celebrate. I hope it has been inspired. I hope that someone there be like, oh my goodness, the flame has lit again. I am going to do this. And very appreciative of the three of you for taking the time to help us celebrate Hispanic heritage. So, clap, kudos to the three of you, Leti, Kaleti, Iliana. I hope we stay connected because, I feel like you guys have inspired me as well. To Prospanica National, the staff that is supporting you, to Prospanica CEO, Tomas Savino, the entire staff. Thank you, Goya. Again, thank you for sponsoring this conversation. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Let us, we want to celebrate, but also let us focus on the future. Let us focus on helping that next generation move forward. And in doing so, I just want to invite everyone to not only join Prospanica. Yes, you can be a member. We also have a track that focuses on Latinas, and we just celebrated this wonderful conference in California, Para Ella, and we're going to be hosting the next one next year. So, become a member is the best investment. I don't get paid, guys. I'm a volunteer. I actually invest myself on it. So the point is that being part of Prospanica since 2011 as my mentor, Phyllis Barajas from Presidency of Conexiones told me it's going to require a lot of your time, but it was the best career decision of my life. Through Prospanica, I got my job and I became an executive in the company that I've been working for since 2014. So it's worth it, $120. Upcoming events, Entre Amigas webinar is going to be on October 3rd. Mark your calendar. Again, invest on yourself. They could take your house, they could take your material things, your cars, but they will never be able to take your knowledge. You go with it when you die. So Friday, October 3rd, and we are going to focus on a very, very important topic, Latina Equal Pay Day. And we have great speakers that are very knowledgeable on that topic. So please join us. And again, ladies, a lot of, hugs and thank you. Very grateful that you took the time to be here. And to my sister, Eliana from Prospanica, thank you. I'm so proud of you as well. And to your fairies babies, I thank you too. To everyone here. With that, we are going to wrap it up. Wish everyone a good night, but happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you. Be proud.